All right, today we're making biscuits and gravy. Measuring cup. Okay, what kind of biscuits are we making? We're making buttermilk biscuits, and for that we need buttermilk, which I do not have. Which I do not have, but I have regular milk, and I have apple cider vinegar. This vinegar is starting to grow a mother. That's fine. All right, let's see. And 1 cup of milk. Bam. And a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Bam. Give that a little mix. Wait 5 minutes, you'll have buttermilk. Ding, 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 ding. All right, now that the buttermilk is buttermilking, we can continue on. We'll leave the vinegar there for set dressing. Set dressing, vinegar. Oh my God. People don't laugh at anything around here. 1 bowl, 1 very big bowl. I should have washed the smaller bowl. That's all right. Flour. If you're following at home, you need about 2 cups of flour. 2, 2.5, whatever it takes. This is all purpose. Cup of flour is, a 1/4 cup of flour is 30 grams. So a cup of flour would be 4 times that. 4 times 30 is, anyone? 120. So we need 240. Plus another 60. So 300 grams of flour. We're going to need flour later also. Woo! People make this recipe by eye. How hard can it be? Famous last words. All right, I need half a teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I hope I have those. Half a teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. Quarter teaspoon of baking soda. This is called chemical leavening. Look that one up. One's a base, one's an acid. Mix them together. Add a little water, and poof. Okay, we need to preheat our oven to 450 before I get too much further. $450, there we go. How about a little salt? Everybody loves salt. Of course, when you're in the kitchen and you need salt, you look for the jar labeled NaCl. I'm not dirtying another measuring spoon, so we're going to go 2 half teaspoons. There we go. Butter. Any Paula Deen fans in the house? We're gonna need some butter, baby Jesus. 6 tablespoons of butter. That's a lot of butter. This is not a low-calorie recipe, in case you thought it was. 6 tablespoons. Right about there. Put that away. Okay. Just slice this up. We want it cold. As cold as it can be in a kitchen with a 450-degree oven in Florida. Now, let me give this a little mix first. Back in my day, we used to sift these things together. I don't think anybody sifts anymore. All the flour's pre-sifted these days. I might need like an overhead cam. What do you think, Peanut Gallery? Overhead cam would be useful? Peanut Gallery fell asleep. Hello, you out there? You can't help me with anything. Well, I mean, you can help me with a lot of things, but I was asking you a question. I don't remember. You think I should have like an overhead cam?
Yeah, if you think what you're doing.
Well, if it's visually interesting at all. Let's get a close up here. There we go. Butter in a pan. Now this is where you get your hands dirty.
I think you liked it. You had it what?
Yeah, when I did the Easter eggs, I did. All right, you just get in there and you press the butter into the flour mixture. This is how I was taught to do it anyway. How do you think the modern kids do this? Or do they just call Uber?
Oh, they won't do some gravy? Oh, yeah, they didn't want to do Uber brunch.
Uber brunch? Uber brunch. Now, what you could use if you had one, but nobody does anymore, is a pastry cutter. But it's one of those, I would say it's a unitasker. You know, nobody really even thinks to use a pastry cutter anymore.
I think I had one.
I think everybody's had one at one point, but it's like, oh, I never used it, so, oh well, don't need it. Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're not trying to completely destroy everything. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get that butter distributed as best as we can. So you do this with your fingertips. If you use your whole hand, it'll be too hot. You'll melt the butter and nobody will be happy. You want to make sure your butter is not stuck to the bottom. That you're basically just breaking it up, right? So here's one of those. Here's one of those cubes. You just squeeze it, stick it in some flour, break it up. There you go. If you do really well at it, you're going to get like a loose, sort of crumbly kind of mixture. I'm not really good at it, so I'm I'm getting a very floury mixture. Okay, I think I've broken up all the cubes. Now we can add in the buttermilk. Now we will need more flour later. And in goes the buttermilk. And you just use the back of the spoon. No point in dirtying another utensil is the word I'm looking for. Dirtying another utensil is not important. Now, as you can see, this is starting to come together into a shaggy ball. You scrape down the sides. Don't miss any butter. Now, you don't want to mix the hell out of this, otherwise you're going to form a lot of gluten, and these biscuits are supposed to be kind of flaky and fall aparty. So, there we go, that's looking pretty good. Throw some flour on the table here. We can roll these out. Ooh, this is ultra sticky. I don't think there's enough flour in there. And we're going to have to add some more flour to keep this from being too sticky. You don't need to need this a lot. So NEED to NEAD. You're going to get about 4, maybe 4.5 biscuits out of here, depending on how big your biscuit cutter is. I don't have a biscuit cutter. We're going to do this old school with a cup. You just basically want it to come together a little bit and then shape it out to about an inch thick or so. It's 25 millimeters to you non-Americans. And that is pretty dang close. Okay. Let's see what we can get out of that. Let's set up our baking sheet. Piece of parchment paper. If you're like, hey, my parchment paper is all like rolls up on you, scrunch it up into a ball, unscrunch it, that should lay flat for you. Yeti. All right, we're going to get our cup. Good cup size. That's a good cup size. That's too big. We're going to use a coffee cup. A little flour on the rim. Get out your biscuit. Put it on the sheet. More flour on the rim. Put out your biscuit. Put it on the sheet. All right. I was hoping to get 4 out of the first pass. Did not happen. So we got to go for the second pass. You basically just reform your dough and go again. The second pass biscuits will never come out as good as the first pass biscuits. It's just rule of life. All right, and this last bit here, I'm just going to roll into a ball. Fold it over a few times. Roll it into a ball. And big old round biscuit right there. So we got 4 good cuts, or 4 premium cuts, 1 not so premium cut, 2 pretty shitty cuts actually. Have a closer look. That's what we're working with. Pretty good, and the oven has just come up to temperature. This is going to take about 10-15 minutes to cook. Generally what you can do sometimes is brush a little buttermilk on top, but I didn't save any for that. We're going to brush regular milk on top. There we go. Doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be pretty. Just has to get on there. There we go. All right, into the oven. It'd be nice if the oven was at a good height. It's not. Just checked. There we go. Into the oven. For 10 minutes. Okay, now, while that's in the oven, we can work on the sausage gravy. And what I have here is some bacon fat. I'm going to take just a tad bit of that bacon fat and throw it right in there. This is the bacon fat I usually use to make soap with. But that's fine, that should work. Bacon fat's going to taste better than oil. If you don't have oil, or if you don't have bacon fat, use oil. All right, we'll get that pan warming up. Now, normally you would use a breakfast sausage in this. Something like, just a simple pork sausage. Nothing crazy. But unfortunately, I am crazy. And I'm going to be using chorizo. So we got some Publix brand chorizo. And that fat is starting to melt. We're going to cut that open and squeeze it in. You don't want, I mean, you can eat chorizo with casing, but you don't want casing in your gravy. What we want to do is we want to brown this up, get it all nice and cooked, because this is raw pork. If you go to your local Walmart or something, you can buy breakfast sausage like in a tube. But I just happen to have this chorizo and no other reason, no other use for it. This is where the Tex-Mex version comes in here. We're going to bust out our skeleton spatula. We're just going to break that up. This is actually proving a little harder to break up than I thought it would be. Now, chorizo is a very fatty sausage, but then again, so is breakfast sausage. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. You put fat in there, you don't put fat in there, you'll be alright. But if you put fat in there, you're going to get a better tasting gravy. It's just the way it is. Basically, you don't want anything bigger than your fork size, because we're not trying to eat sausage. It's sausage gravy. I'm going to break that down, almost like you're browning chopped meat. Okay, that looks pretty browned up. Now we're going to put in our flour. Maybe about a quarter cup or so. We'll see how that goes. Now, this step is all about cooking the flour. That flour is going to do some absorbing of goodness, but it's also going to cook the rawness out of the flour, because you don't want to eat raw flour. It just tastes terrible. So it doesn't look all that appetizing at the moment, but once you put in the milk, it starts to look really good. Kind of looks like refried beans, to be honest. I think we need a little more flour. Don't worry, if you put in too much flour, you can always add more milk. There we go, that's looking a little better. See how it's lightened up a bit? I think those biscuits are still cooking. I wonder what's taking them so long. I think they're done. Just going to turn the oven off. We'll let them sit in there a bit while we finish up the gravy. Actually, no, we won't. It'll dry them out. Take our biscuits out. As you can see here, they were just starting to brown. If you like your biscuits a little more brown, you could have left them in there longer, but we're going to cover them in gravy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Very light. If you were a measuring type of person, that'd be about 2 cups. I don't think I put in 2 cups, but we're going to be putting in about 2 cups. That chorizo really gave it a dark color, not really the sawmill gravy you may be used to. Normally here you'd put in some salt and pepper, but I got a feeling that this is already quite well seasoned from the chorizo. A little more milk. A little too thick for me. Genevieve, are you around? That looks pretty good. Let's give that a taste. Actually, could use a little salt and pepper. It's nice and thick, but it's not too thick. Very good, very good. Turn that heat up and it's time to plate. Okay, here's one of the biscuits. Haven't touched it yet, but that's how it looks. See how it's split apart? That's from the folding. Get yourself a couple of biscuits, like that. Get your gravy. Just put it right on there. Genevieve likes a lot of gravy, so we're going to give her a lot of gravy. All right, there you have it. My take on Southwestern style biscuits and gravy. It's the chorizo that really gives it that color. Beautiful. Help yourself out. Yes. I also need some drink, but made the gravy a little extra thick. I like thick gravy. Okay.